Hey, welcome back to Darrell D TV. Thank you for joining me. I'm back with another video, and I get to talk about one of my favorite groups of all time, Arrested Development. Today, we're going to basically focus on the vinyl of Arrested Development. Not only Arrested Development, but also Speech as a solo artist. We're going to talk about a lot of their discography, a lot of their vinyl releases that came out, and we're gonna go back and forth between Arrested Development as a group and Speech as a solo artist. So stay with me. We're gonna have some fun. We got a lot to talk about and a lot to go through, and we're gonna get started right now. The first record that I'd like to show you is actually from 1989. This was the very first vinyl release from Arrested Development. It's on Campus Records. It was before they were signed to Chrysalis, and it is entitled Support the Music of Arrested Development. There's the label there, you see that? And this was a release when it was just Speech and Headliner, when they were the only two members of Arrested Development, and this was recorded down in Atlanta while those two were in college together. I picked this up in Milwaukee, where I'm from originally, at a record store called Earwaves, which was on the east side. A cat named Dave used to run it, real cool cat. And when I saw this, of course, me being the fan of the group that I am, I had to pick this up right away, and it's a very, very special release. It's extremely rare. You'd be very hard pressed to find this copy, and I actually had the pleasure of finding two copies. This is what my second copy looks like, and as you can see, I got Speech to actually sign that back in the day. This copy I bought from a record store in Milwaukee called the Don Shop. Two good buddies of mine, DJ Darrell D, rest in peace, and DJ Lando Land, ran this shop down in the Sydney High building downtown, and they had a record store down there. So that was one of Rod D's personal copies right there. And so that's a rare gem right there, and your boy got two copies of that. So let's move on. Okay, Arrested Development gets signed as a group, and they put out their first album. We all know what this album is. 3 years, 5 months and 2 days in the life of Arrested Development. We're all familiar with this record. Extremely, extremely creative and beautiful black love and life music type of record right here. Another autograph there. Beautiful, beautiful picture back there. That beautiful black family. How beautiful does that look? So we're all familiar with this. This is probably my favorite album, hands down, with Arrested Development. This one is actually a 5-track LP sampler that I was able to pick up at some point, and it just has 5 of the songs that are on that record. Final Frontier, Mama's Always on Stage, Fishing for Religion, You, and Tennessee. That's a sampler. Beautiful, beautiful record, beautiful album. We're not going to spend too much time because everybody knows about that, so we're just going to keep it rolling a little bit because I have some other ones I'd really like to show you. Now, the first single off of the 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days in the life of album, of course, is my favorite AD song, Tennessee. That's the classic. Doesn't get any better than that. And what I want to do, Arrested Development has a very, very extensive catalog. Between Arrested Development and Speech, they have a lot of releases and a lot of vinyl releases. And I just want to show you some of the different releases from just one of their singles. So of course we have the regular release of the Tennessee 12-inch there. And then here, this is another release I believe this is a German release somewhere over in Europe. Cool picture sleeve. Has the same back, as the US version, but the picture sleeve is different. And then we have another import Tennessee Arrested Development record, and this one is a London release. This was released in London, England. Okay, and then this is a cool promo, another US release, and this is the new remixes, which features the DJ Nap remix on there. So that's just a handful. There's a whole lot more, and you can find a lot of these releases online. So that was one of the first single off of that album, and then of course we had Natural and Fishing for Religion. We had Mr. Window. Everybody loves that one. People Every Day off of that first album. We all know that one. Here's one of my favorites that was off of the Malcolm X soundtrack that Spike Lee did. That was called Revolution. Great, great song. And then we move on to the second album. Now, I personally believe that the second album was just as good as the first one. It was beautiful, beautiful music. No filler on this record. Every song is incredible. This one was entitled Zing Alama Duni. Hope I said that correctly. Got beautiful Ishi on the cover. And like I said, this album was incredible. Most of us are familiar with this who are AD fans. We're familiar with that record. I want to show you some of the singles off of that record now. Of course, we had Ease My Mind. That was the regular US pressing of that one. Then we had the promo pressing of Ease My Mind, and this is in like almost like a paper bag type of picture sleeve with 1994 AD, Arrested Development, and then you got the little promo stamp on the back there. So that was the promo. And then the next one I want to show you is a very rare release of Ease My Mind. This was the DJ Premier remix of Arrested Development Ease My Mind. This one is super rare. And mine is not only the DJ Premier remix, but it's also a test pressing. Can you see that? There we go. Test pressing of this incredible song. I know this record used to sell for about $75 back in the day. Trust me, I was trying my best to get my hands on it. I didn't pay that much for it. I paid a lot less, but it's one of their rare 12-inch singles. Then, of course, you had United Front. Great song. You had one of my favorite songs off of the entire album, Africa's Inside Me. Beautiful song. If you're not familiar with that record, check it out. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music. Now, as most of us Arrested Development fans know, the group disbanded after the second album, and Speech went on to have a solo career. And so this was his first release as a solo artist, simply entitled Speech. And this is one of two copies I have. This one is actually a promo. There's your promo stamp on there. And then the other one, I actually got the pleasure of having him autograph for me. And that's what he wrote to your boy Darrell D. I can't remember when I got this signed. But some of the singles off of there, the first single was, like Marvin Gaye said, What's Going On. Great song and great video for that one. And then we move on later on to, what year was this? This was, what year was this? This was 2000 or 90? This was early 2000s. This was a 12-inch of the single Clocks in Sync with Mine. This was off of that album as well. And then this record actually came with this little flyer that went out to radio stations and kind of promoting that song and whatnot. Great album. Great single. You really should check that out. It's classic Speech. This next 12-inch is very exciting. It's a double 12-inch. It's called the limited edition Metamorphosis Mixes. And this has 6 songs on here. This features, let me show you what that looks like first. And these songs were from the Hoopla album, Clocks in Sync with Mine. There's a ton of remixes of that song on here. The Urban Cricket remix is incredible. You've got the Hey song. There's 4 mixes of that. There's a song called Our Image, which is one of my favorite Arrested Development songs. Actually a Speech solo song, I'm sorry. And I first heard of Our Image off of this little CD sampler that I actually got from Speech way back in the 90s. Now on here, it's not credited as being a Speech song. It's credited from a group called The Projects, Our Image. And it's different. The version on here is different than any other version that I've heard on the actual vinyl releases. I mean, there's a whole lot of different, remixes and different versions of this song. Unfortunately, I lost my CD of this and I need to find another one. I think this was promo only, so hey Speech, if you see this, can I get another copy of that? I could really appreciate it. But Our Image was a song that was sampled from this record, Cameo. They did a song on the Single Life album called I've Got Your Image. So Speech kind of uses the same music from the Cameo release to use on this song. And again, Our Image has, this one features just the album instrumental and a cappella. They also have The Mountain of Lonely, Moving On, Real Love, and Redemption Song, which is a cover of the Bob Marley record. And I bought this, I think I was digging in Vegas, several years ago, and I found this. It wasn't very much money. This is definitely, if you're into their vinyl and you want more bang for your buck, you definitely want to find this one. You can buy these online. They're not very much, maybe $4 or $5 for this double 12-inch that is jam-packed with heat from Speech. Now this next record I want to show you is from a group called Jam World, and Speech did a lot of appearances on one of their albums. This was released in 1999, and this one was called Bluesy Baby, and that's what that looks like. Some years back, maybe mid 2000s, I was in Atlanta and I got a chance to interview Speech for a documentary that we put together, and I'll leave the link to that documentary. It's about old school Milwaukee rap music. My hometown, Speech's hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And when I went down there, he actually gave me a copy of this. And this is a Japanese release only. You couldn't find any copies of this in the United States anywhere. And so he gave me a copy of this. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Really cool stuff on there. It's kind of down-tempo, electronic type music. So if you're into that, you'll definitely. It's got some really cool songs on that album, that Ram Jam album. Now, let's move on to the year 2000, and we got these remix tracks from Speech. This is simply titled Freedom. And this was a bunch of remixes from different songs that he had released for the few years previous to when this came out in 2000. So once again, we have Redemption Song, we have Our Image, we have Spiritual People, we have a song called YO, we have Jungle Man, Poverty, and a song called Yeah Yeah. Solo Speech remix tracks. This is another Japanese pressing. So this was really hard to find. I was lucky to get my hands on one of these. I actually, back in the mid 2000s, I used to call Vagabond Productions in Atlanta, which is Speeches and Arrested Development's production company and whatnot. And I used to talk to a guy down there who ran their studio. I think his name was Mike. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time, but I used to call every few months and just see what other vinyl releases they had, or if they had any at all. And if they did, then I was able to purchase directly from Vagabond Productions. And this was one of the records that I purchased back in those days. So that was cool. Jam packed with songs on here. Now, let's talk about this release that was 2003. And this was Speech Cruising in My Super Beetle. And this was from the album called Peachy. This was a Speech record, not an AD record. And this 12-inch featured 6 songs. Cruising in My Super Beetle, like Marvin Gaye said, instrumental, the Hey Song instrumental, Tennessee instrumental, People Everyday instrumental, Mr. Window instrumental, and Revolution instrumental. Another look at that. This was another Japanese pressing, very rare, 2003 Speech. Now, we jump back into Arrested Development. The band is back together. They're releasing music again at this point, and one of the first singles that was put out on vinyl, because we're focusing on the vinyl. Keep in mind, all of the stuff that I'm showing you, there's CDs being released, there's songs being released, but we're just focusing on the vinyl, and just the vinyl that I own. So there's a lot of vinyl that I haven't yet gotten my hands on. I'm probably missing about maybe 8 or 10 pieces that I'm still trying to get my hands on. You know, Speech did a lot of recording over in Japan, so there's a lot of Japanese pressings that never quite made it over here. So they're really, really hard to get your hands on. And then there's even some releases that were pressed in Germany and never made it over here. Not a lot of them made it over this way. So at this point, after 2003, we have the Arrested Development Honeymoon Day 12-inch. And this was 2004, actually, that this record was released. And this had, in addition to Honeymoon Day, it had a song called Esmeralda and a song called Nighttime Demons. And this was from an album called Among the Trees. Speaking of Among the Trees, that's the next record we're going to showcase here. This was the full-length version of Among the Trees, Arrested Development. This was a 2004 German pressing of this record. This was extremely hard to get. This was another album that I bought directly from Vagabond Productions in Atlanta. So there's not a whole lot of people with this record. This is super duper rare. German pressing only. Check out that gatefold action. They really put a lot of care into the production of this record and this the art in the picture sleeve. And again, we got some signing going on there. This is classic Arrested Development music. If you came up on Arrested Development, this will not disappoint you at all. This is classic material. Classic Arrested Development. It doesn't get too much better than this. Um, Also from that album, if I'm not mistaken, yes, we have the single Esmeralda. And Esmeralda also was featured off of the Vagabond release as well, which was a speech solo album. So not only did you find this song on the Arrested Development Among the Trees release, but it was also on a solo speech album called The Vagabond. The Vagabond, unfortunately, didn't have a vinyl release for the entire album, but it is on CD. They are available. You can get your hands on them. You can buy them online. And this was from 2005. That was a 2005 pressing right there. So, moving right along, we go to this was 2006, was it? I believe. This was an EP of an Arrested Development album called Since the Last Time. And that's what that looks like. There's a little close up of the label. You can see some of the song titles. This was 2006. Um, this was that song Miracles. You remember that single that came out that was real big in the clubs? Sunshine, Since the Last Time, Inner City, Sao Paulo. I know I screwed that up, the Brazilian city. And then Down and Dirty. And then another cool thing is, look, he signed that one for me too. This was another record that I bought directly from the group back in the mid 2000s. That was 2006 that I picked this up. So there's another close up of the label. Definitely rare and hard to find, hard to get. Once these records came out, when they were gone, they were gone. I was just in the right place at the right time, and I'm glad that I was able to get my hands on a few of these. Now, this is not my entire collection of Arrested Development or speech vinyl, but it's the bulk of what I want to show you. I have a lot of remix 12 inches and multiple copies of a lot of the albums that were released. And as far as I know, 2009 was the last time that Arrested Development released a piece of vinyl, and that was a song called "The World Is Changing." It was a 12-inch single, and it was a four-song release, and it was a Japanese release only. Haven't gotten my hands on that one yet, but I'm still looking for it. Now, some good news that I have is I just got word that their latest album that just came out on CD, it's called Don't Fight Your Demons, is getting a 2021 vinyl release. And it's going to be on color vinyl from what I understand. So I can't wait. It's been a long time since AD released anything on vinyl, and I'm very excited that they're putting their latest album on vinyl and that hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on a copy. So when that comes out, we'll have to do an unboxing or something like that and show you guys what that one's all about. Now we're kind of done with the Arrested Development part of it. I wanted to showcase a group that was from Milwaukee that Speech and Arrested Development kind of put out. I know Speech did all of the production on this group, and it was a Milwaukee group called Gumbo, dropping soulful H2O on the fiber. Now let me just tell you, I love this group. I was so excited when we had another Milwaukee act come out, be signed to a major label, and do some good old-fashioned life music. Check out the back there. There you have Falane Faluke, Deanna Dawn, and Geechee Gamba. Actually, I had a really big crush on Deanna Dawn back in the day. She didn't even know I existed. Anyway, there's a picture of them. Beautiful production by Speech. The first single off of that was Basement Music. I'm sorry. And there's the single for that. Great, great song. If you haven't heard this song, or if you're not familiar with the group Gumbo, check them out. If you like Arrested Development, if you like groups like Diggable Planets or Boogie Monsters, you will love Gumbo as well. I definitely recommend it. Their vinyl is still available online. You can find it. It's very reasonably priced. Definitely get your hands on this if you can. Their second release was a song called A Free Soul. That's the second release from Gumbo. And what's cool about this release is they had a remix that was done by Molly Mall. Very, very soulful, jazzy remix. It was incredible. One of the reasons is why Molly Mall actually sampled this Gary Bart's Harlem Bush Music record right here. And I can't remember the song. What song was on here? I think it was Celestial Blues, but don't quote me on that. But that was the record that Molly Mall used for this single. Great song, beautiful, very soulful and jazzy. So we're gonna talk about Gumbo. I wanted to highlight them because that's like an extension of Arrested Development. I'm sorry, and definitely check that out if you get a chance. All right, so that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad I got a chance to talk about Arrested Development and some of my Arrested Development slash Speech records. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. So thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time on Darrell D TV.